So, welcome to our January quarterly planning session for the Inner Circle of the Multi-Passionate Moms Club. And I'm super excited about this because I know how overwhelmed we can get and out of focus and all over the place. And this is an opportunity. Hey, there's Jen B. And so this is an opportunity for us to really focus in on what's most important to you and what's going to be the highest payoff activities. And, just really choosing a powerful goal, like between 1 and 3 goals. But I know for you multi-passionate moms, how hard it is to, get it down to 1 or 2. So I'm going to give you that space to play with the 3. But if you have one really big goal that you're working on, then I want you to just take that as your main focus and map that out today. Okay. And then when you complete that, like let's say you do that in the next 30 or 60 days, then you can set another goal after that, right? It doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're going to do. But if you have a big goal, I don't want you to get overwhelmed with all there is to do for that and then trying to take on more and more and more. And so like for Gen B, yesterday, you were talking about all these competing things you have and you want to simplify and you want to make sure you're spending time with your family and your priorities, honoring your priorities. And so what you can do is pick like your main goal, right? You can pick 1 or 2 and then and schedule that in, and then you can look at how much time you have remaining, right? And if there's enough time to do the other things. And you guys, like honestly, I know you're all overachievers because I know you all, and you're ambitious. And we have this idea about we have to get it all done now, right? And we're hard on ourselves because we're like, ooh, we should have done it yesterday. We should have already had that done last month, right? And we didn't. And then we feel bad about ourselves. And the reality is 3 months from now is not that long. And so if you don't complete something that was on your ideal to-do list, you can work on it in the next quarter. You're not going to die. There's nothing bad that's going to happen if you don't complete it. The world's not going to stop. So, you can just carry that over. But I want you to get really clear about the things that are most important to you. And today we're also going to be looking at your money goals. Because as creatives, as visionaries, as change makers and leaders, I know that you're giving from your heart, that you do what you do because you love it, because you want to help people make a difference. And I also know that many of us are challenged with money mindset issues, with the idea of charging, and not just charging, but charging. I don't want to say what you're worth, because you're worth so much more than you'll ever charge. Even if you charge a ton of money and you felt like, oh my gosh, that was so much, you're still worth more than that. There's no price tag to your worth. So, but what I do want to say is that you're charging something that feels aligned with the value that you're providing, right? And so that you feel really good energetically about what you're giving and bringing to the table and what you're receiving in exchange monetarily, right? And this is where I want all of us to up level our wealth consciousness and to really be able to plan from a place of an empowered place of I'm focusing on these things because they're really important to me. And today we're going to look at what's your emotional connection to your goals, right? Because that's really important as well. And so not only why it's super important to you, but also how do you make a living doing what you love, right? How are you compensated for your time and your energy and the value that you provide in the world? And so this is what I want us to focus on. And for some of you, it might be challenging to, come up with these numbers. And for others, it might be challenging for you to actually put in your calendar, map out, exactly what you're doing when. And when I say this, Gen War, I know you have an aversion to ooh, I don't like the planning part. I don't like putting it down because it, sense my creativity or my flow or my freedom to, you know, do what I want to do. And so what I know is that planning is necessary in order to succeed and to, you know, get really specific, right? And it's not that you can't change it when you feel drawn to change it. You know, if you start to change direction in your heart or, you know, for whatever reason, then you can change with that. You know, you still always have the freedom and ability to choose what you focus on. So, but for the purposes of this, if we want to be successful, if we want to see results, if we want to see things, you know, see progress, then we need to be very clear in our intentions. We need to be very clear with our goals. We need to be very clear with the action steps we're going to take to reach those goals and when we're going to make time to do these things, right? So that's what we're doing today. Okay, sound good, everyone? Y'all up for it? Okay. All right, cool. So before we get into the planning part, let's just take a moment to connect, to ground ourselves and to center, to let go of everything else that has happened today, that has happened in the last few days, anything that's occupied your mind. I want you to just let that go. And just for a moment, close your eyes. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out your mouth. A nice exhale. And another deep breath in through your nose and out your mouth. And just beginning to feel yourself, feeling your body relaxing, kind of sinking into your chair. And feeling, you know, you could put your hand on your heart, feeling your heartbeat, feeling the aliveness within you. And honoring whatever it is that you're feeling in this moment. Just noticing how you're feeling, what's coming up for you. And I want you to take a moment just to really set an intention for our time together today. So we're going to be here for the next 3 hours together. And I'd like you to set an intention for how you want to show up and what you want to receive in this time. Who do you want to be through this planning process today together? And what do you want to receive during this time? What do you want to walk away with? And I want you to take a moment just to picture that, envision that, feel that. Feel the essence of your being. And feel the completeness of what you're going to accomplish together in this time, what you're going to walk away with. And really, we're going to look at feelings that you want to have over the next 90 days. So what is the feeling you desire right now in this moment? And taking another deep breath in through your nose and out your mouth. Feeling the connection to the other sisters here in this community, knowing that we're all here to support each other's highest good. And one more deep breath in. And exhale. Coming back. Okay, so if you have your worksheet that I uploaded, if you have that with you, pull it out. And if you don't, just follow along, okay? Okay. So the first thing that I want you to do is to write down your power word for 2018. So we did this on another call. And if you didn't come up with one or you weren't on the call, come up with one now. And the way this is going to work, it's similar to last time. I think most of you were here last time. We are going to do this together. So I will give you a question or something to consider, and then we're going to take time for you to go and do that. Okay. So you guys are going to go and do Anna. Hi, Anna. You snuck in. I didn't see you. Okay. So, and then you'll have time to work on it, and then you'll come back and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay. And some of them we'll talk about and some we may not. And we'll just kind of keep an eye on the time. And every, 45 minutes to an hour, we'll take a little stretch break, potty break. Okay. So that's kind of the logistics. Does anybody have any questions before we jump in? No? Okay, Jen?
It's not really a question, just something that came up at 1:15. I need to log off, and then I'm going to log on my phone. I have to pick up my kids. They get out early today.
Okay.
I'll be in the car like the last 45 minutes.
Okay.
If that matters at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last time, so I wasn't sure what the whole 3-hour process was.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. And as always, you guys, there will be a recording. So if there's a piece that you missed because you're in transit, like Anna or Jen, you can always go back and listen to that part that you missed. Okay. So, alrighty. So let's start with your power word. Write that down. And so, does everybody have one? Who does not have their power word yet? Just want to see if anyone does not have a power word for 2018. Okay, Laura, is that you?
I have my personal one, but yeah, this is where it's just gonna be, a little bit of shifting to make it a work thing.
So does your personal one kind of relate also to business, career, or can it?
No.
Okay. So if it doesn't, then yeah, you might want to choose another one. I'm going to challenge you on that though. What's the word?
It's freedom.
Freedom. Oh, girl, yes, it does.
It equates to work too.
Yeah, but not in that way. So Allie and I will probably stop and chat every once in a while just to kind of figure out how to, tweak this so that we're.
Yeah, no problem. So, and you can, but the purposes for this of your power word is not necessarily, it's not like directly related to what we're doing in this process, but I just want you to keep it top of mind for everybody so that as you're planning your 90 days, how that fits in, right? Like if my word is unity, right? And I have, okay, if you have background, mute yourself, thank you. And my word is unity. So as I'm planning out my 90 days, I want to look at what does unity mean to me and how does that fit in to what I'm creating, right? Like, what does that look like in this particular area of my life? And I want you all to think about that too. So Laura, for you, what would freedom look like in the planning process, in the execution process, in the results of what you're doing there, right? Like what if freedom is what you want to have, how does freedom relate to you in what you guys are doing there together? And Allie, can have her own word, right? And so whatever word you have, look at how does that play in for you. Kat, oh yay, Kat is with us too.
And my word could be both.
Okay, so Kat. All right. Okay, so Kat, we're just writing down our power word for 2018. So for this year, what is your power word? And let's just quickly go around and just say your word. I don't think we need more than that right now. Okay, so I'm gonna mute Kat and you can either You can either type it in the chat, or we can just go around and say it if you're in a place where you can speak, okay? So if you can speak, go ahead and unmute yourself, and let's just go around. Actually, let me just say it so we don't get all weird. Okay, so Jen War's word is empower. Empower, and her subword is create. Empower and create, okay? Anna, what's your word? Okay, Anna's is simplify. Simplify. Jen B, your word? Where'd you go?
It's probably faster for me to just talk. I changed it up a little bit, but I put all in.
All in.
Yes.
Woo!
A little different from what we discussed, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. All in. All right, cool. Kat says her word is clarity, and she has a poor signal. So Kat's word is clarity. Love it. Tangi is confidence, and subword is conscious intention. And then Jen wrote all in. Okay. And then who else? Okay, so Laura, yours was freedom. Is that still your word?
Yeah, I like that one.
What's your word, Allie?
Mine is intention.
Intention. Okay. Cool. So as you are planning your next 90 days, I want you to really think about, what does that mean to you? What does that look like? How does that fit in with what you're doing? How can you bring that word alive through this planning process, right? Like through the goals you choose and how you choose to execute. How can you bring it alive? So, okay, so our next one is, I want you to identify, and this, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do this. Identify your top 3 to 5 main goals or projects this year. So all you're going to do is write down what are the main things you want to achieve this year. So it could be personal, it can be professional, right? And like you might have, because we do a little bit more of an emphasis on our businesses and professional in here. And so you might have, 3 professional goals and 1 personal that you want to include. Remember, we are multi-passionate, and we are beings that are full embodied beings, and so we have different areas of our lives that we want to focus on. So for the purposes of this, if you just choose business goals, that's okay too. But if you want to throw in, a personal 1 or 2 goals, go for it. So go ahead and just let's take 5 minutes or so. It's 11:25 to identify 3 main goals or projects and just list them. Okay, who needs more time? Raise your hand if you need more time. I don't see any hands. Everyone's done? Good? Yes? Okay. Laura, how are you guys doing? Laura, you guys ready? Laura. Okay, they're talking away there, so they're planning. So we're gonna go ahead. All right. So was that easy for everybody? Was that difficult for anyone? How was it to identify 3 to 5 main goals for the year? I'd like to hear from you. So just unmute yourself if you want to talk.
For me, it was easy. The hard part was just limiting to 3 to 5.
Right.
That's the multi-passionate part about me.
Yeah.
Too many things I want to accomplish.
Yep. I hear you. Okay. Anna did hers last night, you little cheater. Just kidding. Okay.
I actually find it a little bit difficult to hone. I guess in some ways what Jen, like you're saying, there's so many things you want to do, but I feel like mine are not so definitive. It's not like easily stated as my goal is to do this. The this is too broad and big, and I don't know, not as definitive.
So your this feels broad. It doesn't feel very specific. Or
I mean, when I'm looking at the list, it is pretty specific, but it's not. I guess for some people, it could be like, I want to. I don't know if you're an Etsy person, it's like, okay, I want to go live 2 times a month with all my products to sell. It's not like specific like that, I guess.
Okay. Do you want to give us an example of yours?
I kind of did them in, I don't know what the word is, but sections. So one of them was consistency. And then I broke that down into healthy eating and exercising, sort of for personal. And then the other was writing and sharing info on my blog to kind of build up that base. And then this month is actually my 10-year anniversary with Wild Tree. So the third consistency was with my Wild Tree base. So not necessarily expanding and growing it to something much bigger, but I really want to maintain what I have. And that just requires consistency. And then the other thing was connection. So to me, that meant family, like breaking it down to family and what that meant. And then one of the things that I really want to do is old school mail this year for special, like I feel like we have family and friends so far away. And I think that connection, both business-wise and personal, I think really, I don't know why it's calling to me. I think it's important.
Okay. So in there, so I see what you're saying about not like, I don't know, you didn't say clearly defined, did you? But that's the word that's coming to me is, so you want to be more consistent, and then you've identified areas that you want to be more consistent in, right? And so those could be considered your goals, right? Like the areas saying that I want to nurture my list, my current client base for Wild Tree. And so then for that, we would go, okay, well, what does that look like? What would that require, right? And then that's where you would list out your steps, which we'll do further down. You don't have to do that yet. And I want you guys all to be thinking about, like, when you're thinking about your goal or your thing, it has to be something that is definable, something that's measurable, something that you will know when you've reached it, right? So it's like, you want to do this, so I want you to set more measurable specifics with your goals to be more consistent, right? And so if it's, let's say your bigger goal is to have increased visibility in your business, right? And that is kind of like a broader thing. And so what would that look like? Well, it might be, blogging consistently twice a week. It might be, doing a Facebook Live in your group once a week. It might be, whatever, right? So that's where we're going to then break it down into what specifically does that look like. so that you'll know exactly what you need to do to get there, right?
So it sounds like, see, you're good at sort of saying what the big main goal is, but I'm already going into the details of it.
Yeah. So like, one of my main goals for this year is writing a book. Okay. So like, that is very specific. It's like, I know when the book's written, then it's complete, then I reached my goal. Right. And so but then I have to break that down further. It's like, okay, if I'm writing a book, what are all the steps I need to do? I need to do research. I need to do this. I need to do that. Right. And then when am I going to do that? And so we're going to get that specific about things, but I want it to be a goal that has an endpoint in mind, right? Like, so by the end of the year or whenever, like, that you've achieved that particular goal. Okay. So, let's play with one or two of yours based on that. So go ahead and refresh us again.
Well, basically the three was building business, consistency, and connection. Those were the three goals. Building business is the new business that I have started up. Consistency was the healthy eating and exercising. I like how you said increasing visibility, because I think that's more what it is when I was referencing the blog.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also like how you used the word nurturing for the wild tree base.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third was connection.
Okay, so connection and consistency are more intentions, and like consistency would be a habit, more than a goal necessarily.
Okay.
So I like how you were starting to go, okay, consistency with exercise, with health goals, right? And so maybe you want to, so if you were consistent in that area, what would that look like? What would the outcome be? That would be your goal, right? So like if you, want increased energy and vitality, if you want, glowier skin, whatever, right? Like that would be your goal. And then the consistency with the exercise and the health would be one of the ways that you would achieve that, right? So with building your business, I even want you to define that more. So in terms of building your business, we are going to be setting money goals here in a minute. And so I want you to define.
Did Justine freeze for you guys?
What was that? I heard somebody. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Hi, you're back.
Hi guys, sorry. I'm gonna try using my hotspot on my phone to see if that helps, because I don't know, I'm always having issues with the internet out here. And so, okay. So back to Jen. So Jen, is that making sense?
Yeah, so now what I have written down is goals are more like vitality, increased visibility, and financial gain.
So, okay, so those would be kind of like an intention, and then a goal is going to be even more specific than that, right? So goal is
I fail at this.
Oh, you're good. So this is all a learning process, right? And some of us are more wired towards certain things, and so it's all good, and this is why you're here. And so those are sort of intentions, right? Like I want to increase my visibility this year. I want to, I want to have better health this year and all of that. And so a specific goal related to increased visibility would be like, I want to reach 100,000 people, with my blogs, my videos, and my whatever, right? I want to have, 200,000.
What if something like my old Facebook page has more than 1,000 followers? Mm-hmm. So would a goal be something like the new one, whether it's the combo of the blog and the Facebook group, whatever, to get to 1,000?
Yeah.
That would be a goal.
So yeah, so you could put like increased visibility as your umbrella, right? And then one of your, so that would be a milestone, right? Is like getting 1,000 followers, Instagram followers or social media followers, right? And then another milestone, could be, having your thing viewed X number of times, or just you consistently putting yourself out there every once a week for the whole year, right? Like, or for the next 90 days, because we're doing a 90-day planning session. So, getting yourself out there or publishing X number of blog posts in the next 90 days, that would be a way to get increased visibility, right? So now we're breaking it down into the milestones, markers, and then action steps. So then below that would be your action steps, right? So we'll get there, but hopefully that helps a little bit. And I want you to do that with the building your business part. And then it sounds like you have a health goal in there that I want you to massage out. And then there was the connection piece is the piece that is still not clear to me. So, what is the connection? What's related to that connection piece as a goal for you?
I think because this past year was a very inward year, that connection is more about reaching outward. I think that's where it's coming from.
Okay. And then what does that give you?
But that sense of connection, like that's a big spark of joy for me to feel that.
Okay.
Security, I don't know, that's human connection's a big one. Okay.
So maybe like an intention is feeling more joyful. Right. And down here, like we're getting ahead a little bit, but like, how do you want to feel throughout this process? Right. So maybe that's one of your words is joyful. And if you wanted to feel joyful, what would that be like? What would.
Right. And that actually goes along with the subword, which is create, because that's for whatever reasons really pulling me this year to be that. So I think those are all connected.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So anyone else on this one before we move on? I'd love to hear from anybody else on what you came up with, if you need help and support with defining your goals. Now's your opportunity. So I can't see everybody at the same time on the screen. So just speak up or.
I have a quick question, just so that I know how to move on going forward. Yeah. So I have like 8 or 9 things here on my main goals and projects for the year. So like one is to complete my branding, but that really will be done by March. And then like my mom and daughter journal, my events and workshops. I want to become a better writer. 1 family outing scheduled every month. Run another half marathon, and I added increased visibility. So moving forward, like, am I doing the right thing? I guess, like those main goals.
Yeah.
I feel like they're all doable. So it's not. Oh, and also adding to my mom and daughter group, like 100 new moms for the year.
Okay. Okay. So that's yes. Okay. So what we're going to do from here, because this is just kind of like the bigger picture, step where you're looking at over throughout the year. What are the things you're going to focus on? Then we're going to reel it in, for the 90-day plan, right? That's where we're going to go in a few minutes. And out of these, you're going to choose which you're going to kind of prioritize them, right? And doing the family outings once a month, I mean, that's just kind of something you can do, right? Like, it's not going to necessarily require a bunch of focus or planning or additional effort. Right. It's just kind of, something you'll do as a family. Okay. So just in terms of, for you thinking about your business, like what are the, main things, and I want it to be no more than 3 that you're going to focus on over the next 90 days. And really, I'm thinking almost 2 for you, Jen, but we'll see when we get there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Anyone else? Anyone else? So you can unmute yourself or comment. Okay, Tanji says, I don't know about needing help to define the goals. I don't know if I have too many. Okay, so how many do you have, Tanji? You have 7. Okay. So similar probably to Jen, like you can have that and then you can copy and paste. Yeah, you can copy and paste it if you want. But then we're going to look at the next 90 days and you're going to cut that list down at least in half. Okay. So that's where the challenge is going to be probably for a lot of you, and I'll help you. Anna, you say, should we include personal goals in this list? Yes, you can include personal goals in this list. That's not going to be our main focus here, but definitely I want you to write those down because I want you to be thinking about what those personal goals are as well, you know, and then you can use this planning process to plan out your personal goals too. Okay, so, all right, so yes, so if your list is longer than 3 to 5, I also want you to think about a way that you can compartmentalize, so, or where you can group them actually. And so maybe the, you know, increased visibility can go under something else, and that can be like like a milestone of of the bigger thing that you're trying to achieve, right, with your business. So, or something else, right, like doing the workshops, or, you know, maybe that's just one aspect because that's something you're doing, you know, in your business, like that's part of your business model anyway. So, okay, Tanji, it won't let you paste. Okay, no worries. When we get down to, and you can take, if you want to take the time to type them in, but when we get down to picking your 90-day, that's when we'll really need to know what's on your list, okay? All right. Okay, so anybody else have any questions on that? Laura, how are you guys doing with your yearly, your big goals? I don't hear you. Okay, hold on. Let me unmute you.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out. Ours are pretty clear cut. I mean, the business wants to go from having 22% of the national market share to having 50. So, I mean, we kind of drop everything back from that, and we're doing the marketing piece and social media to get people in the funnel. So, yeah.
So is that that's your primary, you know, main thing that you're doing, right? There's not.
Yes. That is our thing. We're getting new customers in the pipeline and helping to build the sales funnel.
Okay, so this is a good example for everybody of like a big goal, like an umbrella big goal. And then there's a lot of pieces and steps to what they're going to have to create with that goal, right? So
yep.
So that's where, you know, they sort of have their umbrella. This is their goal, is we want to go from 22% to 50% in the marketplace. And that's a very defined goal. It's very specific, right? They know if and when they've achieved it. And so that's a great example. And then under that, you're going to have, you know, your sub goals, which are going to be, you know, marketing. It's going to be relationship building. It's going to be research. There's going to be, you know, whatever, right, that goes with it. And so, and then under those, it's even going to be defined more, right? Like, so what do we need to do when, and what are the steps we're going to take, and who's going to do what, right? So with a team, it kind of gets into the nitty gritty of all of that. So, okay, so does that make sense? Was that helpful for other people to see kind of that one main goal that'll be broken down? And what that does is when you have a goal like that and you're very clear and focused on that one thing, there's no distractions. There's no, you know, going off the path or what should I be doing today, because you're very clear. You've got one thing you're working toward, and that's what you're working toward. And so whatever, you know, actions you're taking, whatever energy you're spending, it's always going toward that one goal. So you might be doing a little bit of, you know, outreach or marketing or, you know, creative thinking or whatever. And I do recommend that you guys schedule that in, you know, it's like time for just brainstorming and connecting and creative thinking, you know, and kind of and looking at, you know, what is working and what's not working and, you know, where you want to go next, right? And just build that into your calendar too. So, okay, so let's move on if nobody has anything else at this moment. I'm just going to check here real quick. Okay, so our next question is, what is your annual money goal? So how much money, and this may not relate to you guys, but it may or may not, but to Laura and Allie, what is your money goal that you want to make this year? So at the end of the year, you want to make 50,000, you want to make 100,000, you want to make, you know, what is it? What's your number that you would be really happy making in your business? And if you're, and I want you to like, okay, so if you're like me or Tangi, where you have a job, right? And even Laura, and I know Laura's not working on her own stuff too much right now, but if you have that and you have income from that and you also have a business, right? I want you to set your business income goal, and then I want you to set your overall goal that you want to make for the year, right? So with your business, if you want to make 50,000, and then with your other income, you know, you're going to be at 100,000, right? Or whatever. Okay, so, oh, Tangi, you figured it out, huh? Got it on there. Okay, so that looks like a lot to read, and I will have to get my glasses on for that. She's laughing at me. So write down your money goal, and I want you to claim it. I want you to have it be a money stretch goal, right? Like this is something that you would be ecstatic about earning, you know, about receiving this year. At the end of the year, I made this money and I feel amazing. I feel great. I feel proud. I feel abundant, right? So what is your money goal? And then below that, I want you to do your 90-day money goal. So in the next 90 days, as a result of working your plan that we're doing today, how much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to have generated from your business or from your efforts as a result of this? So. And I want everybody to write something down. Anna, you have a number, but you're debating if that should be before or after your product cost. So yeah, so write down the number that that you want to put in your pocket at the end of the day, right? Like the number, and then you'll look at, because you're going to need to do that. You're going to need to look at, like, all of us, everyone's going to need to look at what are your costs. What are you spending, on business coaching, on a VA, on product, on renting venues, on your hosting your website, like all of these things are expenses and they add up. And so I want you to be really accounting for that and looking at, okay, how much money am I putting out and how much do I need to make in my business to hit my money number goal, right? So if your money number goal is, 80,000 and you're putting out, 10,000, then you need to make 90, right, to hit your money goal. So that's a good question. Jen, Jen Moore, you said good question. What are you referring to?
To Anna, asking if it should be about before or after the product costs.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely want you to take into account all your expenses. So write down your money goal. You can write down two. You can do your before cost and then your takeaway, your take home. So your gross, it's your gross and your net, right? I always forget which is which. I'm like, it's gross is how much you bring in total amount, and your net is how much you put in your pocket. Okay, so does everybody have two money numbers, one a year, an annual one, and a 90-day one? Yes. Jen Wars, yes. Anna, yes. Jen B, yes. Tanji? Yeah. Okay, Kat, I don't know if you're with us. I can't see you, can't hear you, and you're on the phone, so I don't think you can type. Laura, you guys good? You good, Laura? Laura. You good?
Sorry, we had a sidebar. Were you asking me something?
That's okay. Yeah, no, I was just asking if you're good with the money thing.
Yeah, we had a little discussion about that. It's a little different, for us. We just actually really, everything that we're doing is creating new income streams that haven't really existed for the company before. And so we were just talking about, if we get the company making more money, we think we'll both be a lot more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in a position.
That's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, this is a new department in this company. I've known the CEO forever, and marketing hasn't really been a big part of their vision. And I don't think they realized how big marketing is nowadays and how important it is for your business. Yes. So when he brought Laura in, I think he values her voice a lot. And I think that he's seeing the bigger picture now. And so we'll be a bigger asset to this company than he thought we would be.
Yeah, I mean, I see such a huge opportunity for you ladies there, right? And like what excites me, I know Laura pretty well, and so what excites me about that for you guys is like what an opportunity to express your creativity, like and being at the forefront of something new, like bringing something new to the company that provides value. That's exciting, right? So.
With stuff that they don't know about, because there are smart people that work here, and it's nice to be knowledgeable on something that they don't know.
Yeah, because that's like really sharing your gifts and being valued for them, right? And that's what we all want. So that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, exciting. Okay, Jen Gore feels like she's in rebuild mode, so your number's low, knowing that you're pretty much starting from scratch. Okay, so what I say to that is I do want you to be realistic in terms of, I don't want you to pick like a pie in the sky number, but something that you can feel good about, right? Like something that is going to be motivating for you to take the next step. And like, let's just play and have fun. And so for your annual goal, like make it a high number, Make your annual goal a high number. Make it one that you're going to feel great about. That's going to light you up. What's your word, Jen B? All in, right? Like, so what's your all in number? What's your all in number? So put an all in number for your annual goal, because you know what? It gives you something to reach for. And if you don't hit it, that's okay. You set a new goal. But if you don't create a stretch goal, a stretch number, then you will never like move in. I'm doing it with my hands, if you can see me. I'm like, you will never move into that space. You'll never grow and expand into what you're capable of, into what is possible for you when you don't allow yourself to go there, even in your own mind, right? So I want you guys in your mind to think big, go big, and then look at, and you know what, this might help you too, some of you, is to say, okay, here's my pie in the sky. Like this would be my, oh my gosh, over the top number, right? And then you can have a number that would be your good enough number, right? That could be like your acceptable number. That's like, okay, cool. I made some money, it's cool. And I have something else to work toward next, right? So maybe you want to have a couple numbers there that feel good to you. Okay. Does that help, Jen Moore? So yeah, so just have fun with it, you guys. Like, why not think big? Why not? And the more focus you get right now, the more you own in on your skills and your strengths and your vision and where you're headed and your passions, that, and you're lit up by it, and you're serving people, and you're clear about what your mission is, and you're clear about what you're focused on, and you're taking consistent action, right? You're taking consistent action. I'm saying that again because I know this is what most of us need to work on, is consistent action. And when you do that, anything is possible. You will succeed greater than you ever have succeeded before, financially and otherwise. So yes to playing big, Tanji says. Woo-hoo! Yes. So, okay. So you guys have, does anybody want to share their big money goal? I'd love if anybody would like to share their money goal. Just unmute yourself or type it in, but unmuting yourself would be even better because I'd love to hear you say it. Who wants to be bold and brave and share your big money goal? All right. Let's see, I'm scrolling.
I don't mind sharing because, I don't know a lot of you guys. So my goal, I'm recently a single mom. So my goal this year is to bring in $100,000.
Woohoo!
That's with my regular job income plus my personal income.
Okay. All right. So you're like some of us that has a job and a side gig, right? Okay.
Correct. Well, I used to be a Beachbody coach, and I did it a lot and very well. And then I stopped just because of a full-time job. But now I'm kind of starting something new on the side.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And Amy, who's in our group, who's not here today because she just had a baby yesterday, she's a Beachbody coach.
Yeah. What's her last name?
Amy Jackson Dame.
She's not local.
She's not local, no. She's she's on the East Coast.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. 100K goal. Let's get a woo woo for Allie. Come on, guys. Yay.
Funny how things work out, because Allie's really good about advocating for herself and asking for what she's worth. And as you know, that's like one of my challenges. So I got the perfect sidekick.
Yay. And it's so important who you surround yourself with, right? So we all rub off on each other. Okay, who else? Come on, who wants to be bold and brave and give us your big money number? Anna.
I rounded up to 30,000, and that would be my net. goal. I'm keeping it kind of low because I want to be realistic, and I also want it to, for me, so what I did is I actually did some math here, and I figured I wanted to sell like $100 a day. And to me, even that sounds like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But I think that's why I chose 30,000, because it seems realistic, but it's also, I need to make this product, so it's like a lot of work for me to do. So I'm feeling good with that for now.
Okay, so is the 30K your annual income goal or your
Yes.
income goal? Okay.
That's my annual.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, so at the end of the year, if you've made $30,000, are you going to be like, woohoo?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait a minute. I want you to, okay. That didn't feel like convincing to me. So what would be your woohoo goal at the end of the year? If you could do that, like without the limitations of
I mean, I would definitely be happy with 30,000, but I think just for some reason 40,000 is like that number that I just feel like, yay, you know, because that's what, if I were to go back to work, that's what I would expect myself to at least make per year.
Okay.
So to stay home and do that would just be like, yes, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that would feel really good.
Okay, so will you please re-choose your number?
Will do.
Claim it right now. What is the number you're claiming for yourself?
Okay, I'm claiming 40,000 annual.
Okay, everybody, for Anna. Woo, 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 woo. Go, Anna. Go, Anna. Yay. Okay, so I know you guys have to do the silence. You know, you can do the or the She feels it. She feels it. Give it to her. Give it to her. Okay, awesome. So let's have that be your target goal. It's a 40K. It might be a lot easier than you think. How about that?
I hope so.
$100 a day does not sound like a lot to me. So you can do it.
Okay. All right.
All right, who else? Come on. Who's feeling it? Who wants to share? Who wants to be brave? Come on, come on, come on. You got to claim it to, you know, we're here to support you. We're here to lift you up. We're here to say, yes, you can do it. So
I'll say something.
Okay.
So for me, like I said, I feel like I'm in rebuilding. So I really feel like I'm starting from having had income coming in to having nothing. So if I can consistently do 1,000 a month at this point, that would be wonderful. But my ultimate goal I put for the year, it would be 40,000. And the reason why I picked that number is because I think it's possible, just depends on how the stars and everything lines up, but that also would mean that my son's education would be covered. And that has always been one of the things that if I could cover education for us, that would be huge.
Ooh.
And that would cover it plus a little extra, you know,
Yeah.
little extra.
Okay, so your number is 40K. Your annual goal number is 40K. So you and Anna are like, you can be accountability partners, right? You guys have the same money goal. So what you may have to do and how that might look may be different. But it's definitely doable. When you said starting off, you know, 1,000 a month, I'm like totally doable, right? So you guys, these numbers are not, they might feel big and scary to you, but they're not out there. They're not like, you know, you can do it. Okay, so let's give Jen a woo woo. Go Jen, go Jen, go Jen. Woo woo. Okay, yay. All right, awesome. Tangi wrote in that she said 70K gross and 60K net. So at the end of the day, she wants to put 60K in her pocket. All right, so her number we're gonna say is 60K. How does that feel, Tangi? Does that feel good? Does that feel really good? Yeah? Okay. Really good, she says. All right, awesome. So let's hear it for Tangi, 60K. Woo, 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 woo. Go, Tangi. Go, Tangi. All right. There you go. There you go. All right, cool. Anybody else? I'm not forcing you. I'm just encouraging.
Okay, I'll go since I think the only one left. I think 40 here is the magic number because that's what I have down as like my, I would be ecstatic with that only because I don't want to do the side events. So this would be like 40,000 from just mom and daughter business. And it's the hours that I want to work. So I could easily hustle and do more and work events and work 80 hours a week and make a lot more, but I don't. I want this to be, I don't want to say a part-time job, but it may not necessarily be 40 hours a week. So when I thought of what my annual goal was, I said, okay, what I want it to be on my time, on my hours. Because when I say all in, I mean all in with my family, all in with my outside relationships, all in with my business, and all in with my different connections. And so I don't want it to be all in to make money. That's not who I am. And so I would say doable for me, and I'm happy, would be my 30,000 number because of the hours that I want to work and where I want to focus in my business. But 40, I would be like, okay, this was a stellar year for having one full year of a thriving business on mom and daughters and not quite on the event planning aspect of it.
Okay. So what I want to speak to and what I'm hearing is and this is not just towards you, Jen, this is a general, this is like what I'm feeling in the group, is that there may be some beliefs around what it's going to require of you, right, to make a certain amount of money, and how difficult or easy it may be, right, to reach the money, which is totally natural. Like, we all have these ideas about it. And so I'm going to encourage all of you to, we are going to take Anna's word, which is simplicity. We're going to take the word ease. We're going to take the word, Jen's word, joyful. We're going to take all of these words and we're going to build them into how we run our business, how we build our businesses, right? And so how we make money, how we serve, how we spend our time, like all of that is going to be joyful. It's going to be easy, right? It's going to feel good, and it's going to be simple, right? It's going to be simple. And so I invite every one of you to take that on, right? To set and hold that intention for yourselves and for everybody else in this group, that as you're building your businesses and reaching your first milestone with income in your business, because I see the numbers you guys saying today is your first milestone, right? It's not like your end all be all number, but this is like, you'd feel great if you got to this step this year, right? So I want you to think of that. Okay, Anna, you got to go pick up your daughter. We'll see you in a little bit. I want you to think about, not just think about, I want you to feel into the idea that it can be easy, that the way we're doing business is not the old paradigm of business. It's not the hustle, it's not the struggle, it's not all of that. So as we're co-creating, as we're creating our own individual things together side by side, let's keep that top of mind. Let's look at where we can take the struggle out, right? Like where we can bring in the ease and the flow. And the numbers you guys are sharing, I promise you, you can reach them, and it's not as hard as you think. So it might be just a tweak or a shift in how you're doing things, or what you thought you would have to do, or, the things that you're putting out there. I mean, there might be, like, for Gen Moore and Gen B, right? Like, I see other opportunities for you to make money, that's in alignment with what you're doing, that would be easy. And we've talked about some of them before, right? And so, so let's just call that in, right? Call in the ease, the flow, the simplicity, the joy in building our businesses. So Jen, we're going to call in her next step, 40K this year from her mother-daughter business. Everybody, let's hear it for Jen. Woo, 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 woo. Go, Jen. Go, Jen. Go, Jen. And these 40 numbers are like flying around. So I wonder if, like, I know Allie started off with 100 and we went down from there, but I wonder if like 2 or 3 people said 100K, like how many more of us would be like, yes, I want that too. Okay, so, okay, Jen says, I guess I'm not having a hard time seeing my worth, but seeing the ways in which I can bring it in. 40 is fabulous. Yes. Okay, so let's work on that. Let's work on that, Jen. And then Kat says, 40K for me too. 40K for me too. So Kat, is that with your clothing business? Or is that like new income with like doing consulting and stuff? Let me know.
No, that's just my income. So when I moved, I was unexpectedly unable to pay myself anymore. Because of my full-time staff, and that needs to change, or it's just not going to last for me. It's become a really, really tense situation for my marriage. So it's like do or die, to be honest with you.
Okay, so the 40K number is the number that you want to pay yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Awesome.
So I have to figure out how to fit that in to my situation, my current situation.
Okay, so we're gonna be planning out a little bit more, and actually, after we complete this, we're gonna take a little bitty break. Okay, so as we go down, we're gonna plan some more, Kat, so that you can really look at what are the main tools that you're focusing on that are going to bring in that money, right? Okay, awesome. And I love you guys, Jen Moore and Tanvi are just love bugs talking about, I just want to say this, you need to up that money, Tanvi, we're speaking more, and Tanvi says, we are all so much more worth it. So, which is so true, right? We are all worth that and then some, and then some. So I want you guys to really know that, own it, and feel it, okay? All right. So, Jen Moore, I want 100K, but being realistic. Oh, you guys, realistic. That's what kills like possibility. Realistic kills possibility. So,
gremlin word all the way.
Right? So, stop being realistic. We want to, I mean, how do we know what's realistic or not, right? Like if you've never done it, then you're just creating from the same pool that you've been playing in all along, right? You're creating from this limited realm of possibility, which, like this box that's there. So how do you know what's possible, right? How do you know what's realistic? So what else is possible?
Yeah, they are potato chips. You want to try it?
I'm going to mute you guys, Kat. Okay, so we are infinite beings. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So why not call in that amount that you really, really want? Because if you don't, you're just limiting yourself from having it. You will never have it if you can't even see that it's possible, right? So call it in. Uh-oh, what did I... Okay, Jen B, you didn't send me a message, did you? Okay, it looks like it said something. Anyway.
Oh, Unless I did something by accident, but I don't see anything.
No, I think maybe it has me getting ready to send you a private message. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, fear of disappointing yourself, Jen, right? So you're playing it safe because you don't want to disappoint yourself, and yet you're never allowing yourself the option to have that which you want, right? And how disappointing is that? To not even allow yourself to have that. Okay. So, okay, so Laura says you're going to work on some strategies. So yeah, Laura, you guys are welcome to keep going down the page, and, you know, work at your own pace. So don't worry about that. We're going to take a little break right now, you guys. So let's do a potty break, a stretch break, get a drink break. Let's just, you know, I want to keep it moving, because we have quite a bit more to do. But let's take, you guys want 5 minutes or 10? Show me the hands, 5 or 10? 5 or 10? 5, 1, 5, 1, 10.
Okay, Jen Moore's the tiebreaker. Jen, you're the tiebreaker.
Let's take 7. Okay, let's take 7 minutes, so you can get a little snack or whatever. It's 12:21. Okay, you know what? Let's just come back at 12:30. 9 minutes. Okay, come back at 12:30, and we'll continue on then. Okay. All right. 12:30. See you in a little bit. Alrighty, so now we are going to go on to our next question. Are you guys back? I don't see anyone. Let me see you.
I'm back. I'm just eating, so I'm going to keep myself on
Okay, got it.
blacked out, but I'm here.
Okay, 10-4. Anybody else back yet? I don't want to start without you. Actually, okay, Kat is here. Kat is here. We need Tanji. We need Janwar. We need Anna. We need, there's Laura. Laura and Allie. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue. I already started the recording. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at your immediate main focus for the next 90 days. So this is where you get to choose, okay? This is where you're going to take that list you created of your main goals for the year, and now you're going to prioritize them and say, okay, which ones are going to be my highest payoff goals? Which ones are going to get me the income that I need to reach my money goal? Which ones are the ones that are going to light me up the most? Which ones are the ones that are going to leverage my other goals the most, right? Because there's usually like a goal that you can do, but and when you do that goal, it kind of helps progress some of your other goals, right? So like Shalene Johnson calls it a push goal, which is, it's like that thing, once you do it, makes other things possible, right? So, okay, and Jen, you're back. I got it. Okay, Tanji's back. So I think everybody is back. All right. So, and I'm glad we took that like almost 10 minutes rather than 5. So, okay, so let's go on to the next one. So I want you guys to spend, 5 minutes or so, or more if you need it, looking at what is going to be your immediate main focus for the next 90 days. So what are the main goals that you want to focus on that you're going to be breaking down in a little bit, okay? So ready, go. If anyone has questions, go ahead and ask me. I'm here. And if not, go ahead and do it. And then if you need help, we'll work through that together, okay? Thank you. I had myself on mute and I'm talking. Bleep, 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 bleep. Okay, so raise your hand if you have your goals. I mean, your main focus for the next 90 days, and it has to be 3 or less. 3 or less. Okay, you have it. Kanji, you got it down to 3 or less. Yay. Okay. Write in the chat. Raise your hand. Whatever. Jen B has 3 or less. Who else? Okay, Jen Moore has 3. Laura, you've got 1, huh? one major one. Kat, yes. Awesome, you guys. Okay, Anna, do you have 3 or less? Okay, so we're working on your immediate main focus for the next 90 days. So I wanted you to choose 1 to 3 things that you were going to be focusing on. And if it's one really big thing, that's all you get. Like with Laura and Allie, they got one really big thing. They're going to break that down. If they're smaller things, then you can have 3. Okay, I'm making the rules here. Okay, so yes, you have them, Anna. Okay, cool. I think that's everybody. Everybody has them. So I would love to, if you feel good about your goals, move on to the next thing, which is what are your markers or milestones that you'll need to reach along your 90-day path, right? So as the example earlier with, I think we used Jen Ward's example is, she wants to increase visibility in her business, and the way that she knows she'll do that is, one milestone is getting 1,000 followers on her Instagram. Another milestone is posting 2 blog posts a week for the 90 days, right? So those are kind of going to be the milestones. And then the next step will be to break that down into steps, okay? So if you need help defining your 3 main areas of focus, now is the time to speak up. So I can help you get clear on that if you need help. So let me know. And if you don't, then go on to your milestones. And if you have questions about any of this, raise your hand. Okay, Tanji, what do you mean 3 are relevant and 1 is different? I mean, 2 are relevant and 1 is different. What does that mean? Okay, I understand. Meaning the first 2 are related to each other and then the Juice Plus is a separate thing, yeah. So with the Juice Plus, I want you to be more specific. What does successfully building your Juice Plus business look like, right? What does that mean? Is it a money goal? Is it a number of clients, customers goal? Is it building a team goal, right? Like what are your goals with that specifically? So I want you to define that more. The first 2 are perfect. Okay. And this is the nitty gritty of it, you guys. Like this is the part, like the, defining the goals and then the milestones markers. And then you're going to write out the steps that you need to achieve those milestones, markers, and goals, right? And this is the nitty gritty of the work we're doing. So we'll spend the bulk of the time on this and you getting really clear about exactly what it is. Because once you're clear on this, once you have this mapped out, you're going to put it in your calendar, figure out when you're going to do it. You're going to know exactly what you need to be working on when, right? So I want you to really spend some time with this. Jen, okay. um, so the process and how you do it, it's okay if it's not completely aligned to how we're doing it, as long as the outcome is what you're looking for. So I want you, the outcome is that I want you to have a clear idea of exactly where you're headed and what you're focusing on to get there. Okay. So if you can do that and clearly articulate what that is, then it doesn't matter how you get to that place. Okay. Does that help, or do you need help actually breaking it down?
Hey, Justine. So I guess for me, some of it is that like this, it's just hard to almost differentiate between the marker milestone and the goal. I don't know why in my brain this language is just not it's just not so definitive and clear for me. It's more complicated in my brain.
Yeah.
And I am definitely a make a list kind of, like, I like doing that, but it's this kind of breaking this down. And maybe it's because there are so many things that it's hard to narrow down.
Yeah.
And they're also very interconnected. So narrowing down sometimes means, well, how do I get rid of this? Because it kind of builds upon each other, if that makes sense. Like they're cumulative. Like the sort of healthy eating and exercise is connected to the creation of my blog post, because that's what I'm sharing. It's just sort of all overlapping. And I don't know why it's feeling like, I feel like I'm looking at a test. Just like putting the wrong answers to the wrong questions.
So there's no wrong or right way to do it. I want you to understand it really is a, the end goal, the objective is just to get you clear and focused, right? And so however we can get to that place is fine. Okay. Like, even if you are like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about milestones and markers. Like, I'm not even going to do that part. I'm just going to like create my goals and I'm going to write down the steps I need to get there, right? Like, or whatever. But do your best at it, and then we'll like, if you want me to walk you through one example, we can do that. So
okay. I mean, I totally get why you have the markers and milestones and why it's needed. I logically understand that. I guess what it is trying to plug my personal whatever into that system is what's hard.
So let's take one of yours and walk it through.
You know what? Can I do something first and then see how, I just had an idea of something that might help me to visually do that. So let me do that first and see if that kind of like clinches it together for me.
Okay. Whatever works for you. Okay. Anyone else need a little help clearly defining your goals, your milestones and markers, or your action steps? Anybody need help with that?
Maybe you could help me with one of mine, just so I can make sure I'm doing it correctly.
Okay.
My first one is to have a simplified line of products.
Okay.
I'm kind of having a hard time mapping that out with markers and milestones.
Okay. All right. So what would that look like? Like at the end of it, if you had this line, simplified line of product, what do you have?
I wrote down purse, because I definitely want to have some type of purse.
Okay.
I do these things called oil wraps, where it's a travel holder for essential oils. So I want to have that. And then I want to have my fringies. And I also want to work on making a leather wax that I can sell.
Leather wax. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So basically what you would want to do is look at each one of these items, right? And look at what is required for you to actually create this or to have this product line done, right? So is there a design phase of it? Is there a, like the creation design phase? There could be the production phase, right?
Okay.
You know, all of that. So those kind of, so when you look at like, what would it take to get this done? Those are kind of like your milestones and markers, right? Like, so you, like, one would be create a design for the purses, or
Okay.
create a design, or it could be for all of it, you know, whatever it applies to, right? Create a design, a prototype, or whatever. And then, you know, another milestone is the production of it, right? Like actually having the samples, having the, you know, certain number of product available. Another milestone could be creating, you know, your website or your marketing material, right? Like how are you going to get the word out about it? So you want to think about like, what do you need to do in that area as far as marketing your products, right?
Okay.
So those are kind of like your milestone markers, because that's like kind of how you know you're on the path to getting it done. When those things are done, you're like getting closer to your goal, right?
Right.
And so then underneath each of those milestones and markers is like a to-do list, right? Like a task list. So in order to create that prototype, I need to do X, Y, and Z, right? And that's where you break it down even further. So then now you can take those steps and plug them into your calendar and go, okay, here's what I'm working on first. And then I do this, and then I do that.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay. And Kat says, I can help you, Anna. Let's meet ASAP. And I'd love to give you feedback to narrow down your core styles. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I love it. Love the collaborations. Okay. So Tanji, did I just miss? Okay. So Tanji, if it's not about the money, but it's about educating people, then you might want to set a goal, a number goal for people. So like, I want to reach or educate, you know, this number of people, right? So that could be your goal instead of like your money goal for that. Does that help? Well, it's part money and education. Yeah. So choose whatever one feels like the most inspiring to you, because either way, like if you reach more people, you're going to make more money, and vice versa, right? So take the one that feels inspiring to you and then set your goals around that. So choose, like, is it a number of people or is it an amount of money? Okay, who else? Anybody else need anything? Laura, I know you guys aren't on video right now. Are you still there? Can you hear me? Okay, amount of people, Tanji, good. Okay, then choose a number and that'll be your third goal, okay? And then I want you to also take into consideration when you have 3 goals to get, you know, X number of people for private coaching, X number of people for your program, X number of people for Juice Plus. I want you to consider once you write down the steps of what you're going to need to do to reach that number of people, I want you to consider the amount of time that's going to take you. And I want you to account for that in your life, in the grand scheme of your life and everything else you have going on, right? And if you're just like, okay, it's not realistic to do all of these things in the next 90 days, I'm just going to focus on getting, you know, the 5 clients or the whatever, right? Like, then I want you to peel away the other stuff that's going to feel like too much, you know what I mean? And move that into the next quarter. So you can accomplish like your first goal of getting your, you know, your registrants for your course. And then your next, you might move on to getting your private clients, etc. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. So, you also homeschool, right? You do a lot of other stuff too. So you need to consider all of that. Okay. So anybody else on where you right now, where you should be is you should be clear on your 3 goals or your 3 primary areas of focus. I'd like you to at least have your milestones and markers done. How many of you have that part done? The milestones and markers for your goals. Woohoo, Jen! All right. And then what we're going to do next is the breaking it down into what steps are needed to reach your goals. So is everybody clear? Do you all understand this process and how it works and why we're doing it this way? Jen?
I have one. I think for me, I put what needs to be done in my markers and milestones. So like my 2 immediate main focus for the next 90 days is my mom and daughter journal and my branding. So my markers and milestones, I put complete website, colors, logo design, a mom and daughter photo shoot, and my graphic design for journal, get to editor for completion by end of March. So did I kind of switch that, or were those my steps?
Well, do you have steps underneath that you need to do to complete those?
Yeah. I feel like I don't really have any markers or milestones. They kind of go from in work in progress to completed.
So like a milestone could be completing all of the graphics for your journal.
Okay.
A milestone could be completing all of the text, or for your journal. A milestone could be, getting the website where you're going to sell them completed, right? So those are kind of like, and that's kind of a little bit separate, the website. I mean, I want that to be under, as one of your goals for that, but that may not be your focus in the next 90 days. It might just be you're getting the journal done, and then you move into the creating the marketing, material. Okay. But because your journal's coming out in April, I actually want you to have your website done and ready. Well,
and I feel like I want to have my complete branding done and my logo done because I want to put that on my book. Right. So that's to tie into my cover. So I feel like completing this, then I could add it to I feel like, not that they go together, but I feel like if I have one done, then it'll be easy to just merge, and then you see what it is and automatically it's me and it's who I am and what I represent.
Yeah. So what are your milestones under the branding piece?
Under the branding piece would be, it's to finalize the colors, finalize the logo design and the style, and to complete the website. Okay, so your markers are finalizing the logo, and then your steps are finalizing the color, picking the color, Does that make sense? Right. Yes.
And then the website, right? Like a milestone for the branding is completing the website, and then there's going to be probably a bunch of steps under that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then there may be more to the branding later that's to be revealed, but those are like your main focus for.
Okay.
And you need to do that in order to get the journal complete. So that's the priority, right? Like that is where your energy and attention should be going primarily, so that you can complete the journal, right?
Okay. So do you feel like I'm in alignment right now with what my thinking, what my thought process is here?
So yes, and okay, I don't see the workshop on here. Okay, I don't see the workshop, because you're doing the workshop, so that needs to be on there. And I see the workshop as your only immediate source of income out of these 3 things, right? So the journal eventually will give you that income, and it's setting you up for that.
Yeah.
If you want to get immediate money, put the workshop in there because you're doing the workshop, and it has to be in there, one of your 90-day goals. And then so go ahead and add that in right now and break that down, okay? I want you to.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anybody else?
Just can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
So what I ended up doing, I don't know if you can see it, but I created this.
Okay.
And basically what it does is I don't know if it helps you to see it or not, but I basically broke it down to like what my goals were. So vitality and business building were my 2 main goals. And then what I realized is that I have different sections in my life. There's Wild Tree, there's Life Vantage, and there's the War for Wellness. And they're all interconnected. So I kind of went through each thing and how, from my own personal goals, what area of business I can draw from to then share from in that area. And then when I went down below, I got very specific about what, like the how. So first it was the goal, then it was the how. You know, like with Wild Tree, whether it's pantry clean out or freezer meal workshop kits or menu planning, the just my goals, whatever, for like how to actually implement those things.
So those
and then
are
I had
milestones. Those are the milestones.
well, then I see down here I have milestones that were more specific. Like I broke it down to like 250 followers because I was thinking like by the end I'd like to have 1,000, but for the first 90 days, 250 followers, daily IG or FB post 2 times plus a week for blog. And what I wrote above is that increases the visibility, which is what filters into my Wild Tree and my Life Vantage business, because that's where the money part is. A lot of the other part, the sharing part, is just letting people know who I am, what I know, my knowledge, what I stand for, what I have resources to, and then funnel them there. But one of the things that I realized about the whole War for Wellness thing is that is my joyful outlet for creativity. So it's all rooted in the businesses I'm building, but that's where my creativity gets to come out. So for me, like, so not a linear thinker. I just kind of created this chart, which I hope is what helps. Now I have very clear line as to, okay, how many blog posts, how many, like kind of planning that out.
Good. So, okay. So I'm kind of seeing this kind of next 90 days as a building phase for you, right? It's kind of like a building and getting your following, the visibility, kind of all of that. So is there a place in there for you to monetize?
There is through Wild Tree or Life Vantage.
Okay. So do you on there have milestones? Do you have, I want you to have a goal around, for each of those in terms of how you're going to make money from them, right? So if it's, you talked about nurturing your current base. So what does that look like? What are the milestones? What are the steps you have to take to nurture your base, and create where is it? What was your 90-day income goal?
3,000, because it was 1,000 a month.
Right. Okay. So what is it going to take for you to bring in 1,000 a month of income? And let me just tell you, you have an opportunity, like with me, you have an opportunity to do, like, let's do a workshop, a home party, whatever. I'm totally been wanting to do that for a while. And so look at who are the people, in your immediate circle that you can tap into and maybe get some new customers or, get some orders coming in to generate that money. Right. So I want you to really look at, how can you nurture your base already and bring in the people that are like the low-hanging fruit, right? Like the people that are in the peripheral of your business. And so that you can monetize while you're also increasing your visibility and kind of, building and all of that. And then I think next quarter will be a really good quarter for you to look at your offerings, right? Like, what are your offerings? What do you want to create that currently doesn't exist, and all of that, because now you've got this great base of fans that you're nurturing and, providing content for and stuff like that. So I think that'll be really good for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, I love it. I love the way you work that all out too on that paper. And I just want to make sure also, Jen, that you are clear, like that you have the steps written down of what it's going to take so that you're clear about what needs to happen. And then you can kind of prioritize and, you can map out your week and you can look at your week and go, okay, I have this much time. What do I want to work on where? Right? How does this all going to fit in the whole scheme of things? And that's going to be the productivity trick for all of us is like, you know, to know what we want to do and kind of have it all out there on paper, that's cool and that's necessary and that's one step. But to actually implement, right, to actually like put it in our calendars, which is why I wanted you to have your calendars today so that you can map out. And if you don't get to the whole 90 days, like let's just start with a week. Like let's look at what are you going to do for this next week, right? Start there. So, okay, and I want that for everybody. I want you all to be really clear about exactly what your steps are that are going to get you to your goal. Milestones and markers, okay? So anybody else, how are we doing with steps? Are you guys all, do you have steps defined? Are you clear about what you need to do to reach your goals? Is that a yes? Is that I'm still working on it? What is it, you guys? What's going on?
I can actually talk right now. So, all the kids are in the classes right now. So for mine, I didn't have that many steps because I was still working on the milestones, but I guess I wanted to be clear on milestones and steps. Okay. So with the milestones, I had get on as many discovery calls with as many parents as I can to connect and see where their struggles are, continue doing live Facebook videos, continue writing articles and sending to my mailing lists for Family Love Village and Taming Your Wild Child, and get more visibility on social media parenting groups because I tend not to comment enough on parenting groups, so I want to get more visibility that way as well. So those were the milestones. That's as far as I got with milestones. And the step one was, for steps, was start calling friends and parents that I meet that are interested in my book, the course, or life coaching.
Okay, so I want more specificity, okay? So this is where we can tend to trip ourselves up because we have an idea about what we need to do, but then it's like, okay, I want you to say, I'm going to have 30 sales conversations. I'm going to do 100 blog posts or videos. I'm going to, and then I want you to think separately too, in a way, okay? Like they're all interconnected, but I also want you to think about what is it going to take for you to get those 5 private clients? And what is it going to take for you to get those 7, or 10 families, right, in your program? And so, if you look statistically, at if you're having sales conversations, if you have a really, a high conversion rate and you have a 30% conversion rate, then you would have to talk to, you would get maybe 1 in 3 people that would sign up, right? So you would have to talk to, do the math, right? Like if you wanted 30, you'd need to talk to 100 and what have you, right? So it's important to kind of know that and to kind of track your conversion rate when you talk to people to see how many people you're actually going to need to talk to in order to close the deal, right? And okay, so some of the things you said as milestones were more like steps. Okay, so let's look at okay, so what's your number 1 priority right now? It's your group, right? Filling your group.
Yeah, it's for the course. Yeah.
The other thing I want to say too is, I think you were talking about Jen the other day, and I was thinking about that and I was like, well, her kids are a little bit older. So I don't know if, if that was necessarily the right fit, but I was thinking maybe somebody wants private coaching, right? So even though your intention is to sell the course, like always be ready to say, oh, it sounds like it would be a better fit if you worked with me privately on these things like this, and so you always have your plan B, or the other thing that you're promoting. But so the intention is to set up these sales calls so that you can have the conversation and then see which one is actually a better fit for them, right? And you're either going to sell them A or B.
Right.
So it's a numbers game. It really is a numbers game, you know, and you're going to have to really think about strategies for getting people on calls. And I think, you know, okay, so all these videos that you're doing are great, but it's only to a limited number of people because it's the same people that are seeing them, right? So we need to be able to expand your base and who's actually seeing you and getting to know you and your content, right?
Right.
So I love the idea of you doing more webinars, you know, as one thing. I mean, you're great on camera, and you know, you're so warm and inviting, your personality, you know, and so I think people really need to get that experience of you, to have that experience of you. And so, you know, video, like how much you know, opportunity do you have to speak in person, like speak live, you know? Do you have opportunities to do that where you can speak in front of?
Interesting thing, because gosh, it was several months. I think it was over the summer, and the two people told me about this. Like it came out within a week, and I knew, okay, that's something that the universe is telling me. And I didn't do anything with it. But it was, it was a mom's group, and forgot the name of it, but I'd have to look at my notes again. But there was a mom's group where I could go speak and actually share about my book. And I'm not really remembering. I think it's through different churches. Then I'm not remembering the name of it for some reason right now. I'm blanking, but I'll remember.
Okay, so one thing that you could do for either filling your private coaching clients or a future, you know, workshop or course, because right now the time is kind of short on this one to do this. But so, you know, your one of your milestones could be, you know, getting 10 speaking engagements or whatever, right? And then one of your steps would be researching local groups that you could speak to.
Okay.
Right? Like that's a step under your milestone of speaking to local groups. And then, you know, your next step could be, you know, reaching out to, sending an email to who's ever the head of that organization, right? And so this is how I want you to think of it, is in steps. Like, okay, if I want to get 5 new clients and I want to get 10 people in my program, okay, 10 families in my program, I'm going to need to, you know, set up 40 sales calls. So that's a milestone. So if you're setting up 40 sales calls, what do you need to do to set those up? Well, you're probably going to need to like do some research to see who you can actually get on the phone, right? You're going to need to do some outreach to friends and other people that can give you referrals, right? You're going to need to maybe create a free offer, or, you know, create something that you can do that is giving people a strategy session with you to get them on the phone, right? Like, so these are all things you want to think about, is like, okay, what are all the strategies and techniques that I can use to only focus on getting people onto a sales call with me, you know, a strategy call.
Right.
And if you are that focused, right? Like if you know, okay, this is my only job this week, because if your course starts next week, right? Like I would say, put off everything else in your life, you know,
right,
and with the business at least, and focus every single day. Your focus is on, who can I talk to, right? Like who can I reach out to? Who can I connect with? How can I share my message, right? And so those are the things that I want you to be prioritizing until you get your numbers, or you're ready to start, right? And then you shift your focus into, you know, getting more private clients.
right. Okay.
And when you get your private clients, then you focus into the Juice Plus stuff, right? But I see that as, I mean, that could certainly happen over the next 90 days, like all 3 of them. How if you take one at a time and focus on that you'll be more productive. And then who's to say that, you know, as you're promoting the 7 week course, 7-week?
Yeah.
7-week course, that you might get a few private clients in that process. And, you know, maybe people who go through your course are going to want to work with you privately afterwards or during, you know, so there's, you know, there's always that. So maybe you can pay to place an ad in the LA Moms Facebook group page. I think it would work really well. Okay, so yeah, and like, how much are you in those groups, like the moms groups, and how much are you connecting and looking at the ones where they allow you to promote, right? I mean, there's a lot of groups out there that allow you to promote. Are you taking advantage of those, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is such it really is a numbers game, just in terms of, you know, how many people you can reach. But if you're building your base and you're kind of nurturing your base, what I like about what you're doing is that, you know, the parenting thing is connected to the co-parenting thing, and they're 2 different offers. And then you have your Juice Plus business, which is health related, which you could then build from your base of your, you know, families, and sell them the Juice Plus, right? So now you don't have to create the wheel. You just, you know, give them the next offer, right? In the space of people who already like you, trust you, and, you know, want what you have. So, okay. Whew, I just went off on a tangent there. Okay. Felt like a tangent. So, so did that help you just in terms of clarity on like milestones and steps?
Yeah, it did.
And then do you need a little bit more time to work on that now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
A little more time.
Okay, so take some time right now to work on that. I'll move on and see if there's anybody else that needs some help. So anybody else, where are you guys? Raise your hand if you are like good and ready to move on. If you're like, I got this, I know my goals, my focus, my milestones, and my action steps for the next 90 days. Raise your hand. I want to see hand raised or type in the chat. Okay, Anna, hand raise. Jen W, hand raise. Okay. Laura, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, I think I need to sit with some of the steps a little bit more.
Okay.
But I'm good to keep going.
Okay. Do you want any feedback on it, or are you?
No.
Okay. Are you and Allie going to come back together? And
oh, she had to jump off to another meeting, but she might be able to pop back in for a little bit.
Okay, but you guys will get back together afterwards and kind of.
Yeah, because that's the next piece that I need to figure out, is because her things need to time in with my things if she's gonna help. Yeah, if her efforts are all going to go towards the same place, which I hadn't really been thinking of that in the right way, because so we need to get this website done, and I'm pretty focused on that. That's really simple and easy, and I tend to be a very linear processor, but I have to be thinking about, like, the whole point of that is to get customers on the website. So that's where her social media stuff. And then we were also talking about getting like an email campaign built to do that. And so those need to
intersect.
Yes. And hopefully with the right timing, so that it is, once we turn on some new functionality, that we will have people there with their credit cards saying, sign me up.
So that's fun. That's exciting. You guys get to create together.
We do. And it's a very, I know I've talked to you a little bit about the environment, and it just being able to create things in a very healthy way. We just are kind of hoping to make some culture changes around here too. So we both feel really good about that.
Awesome. Yay. Sounds like they got the right people at the job. So on the job.
So
okay, cool. Very exciting. Okay, so Kat, you could use a little input on how to break it down and where to focus your efforts. Okay, so let's do that. If you guys want to move on to the next step, which is by when will you complete each step? So this is where you're going to give yourself a deadline, and even if you don't reach your deadline, that's okay. Like, you can set a new deadline, but I just want you to create a deadline. And then I want you to figure out in your schedule when you will make time to work on the steps, okay? So, and put it in your calendar. So if you have your calendar out, get it, if you don't, get it out. If you only have your phone, put it in your phone calendar. I want you to take your action steps and give a timeline, and you can put a timeline on your milestones too, right? So milestones first, and then your action steps, and then put it in your calendar. And you can work backwards. You can go, okay, 90 days out, I will have this. So I'm going to work backwards from there and look at what I need to do, or not, whatever works for you. Okay. So Kat, where are you at? What do you have? What are your three, or 1, 2, or 3 areas of focus?
Let's see. So I was in the car up until now, passenger then a driver, so it was really hard for me to kind of write stuff down. So I hope I got some of the, I guess the areas that I should write down. Mm-hmm. So forgive me if I'm a little off.
That's okay.
Just trying to kind of follow while I was in the car. So you said I needed 3. What was it? 3.
So you're choosing 3 main areas, up to 3. Not, it doesn't have to be 3. Up to 3, no more than 3. Main areas of focus for the next 90 days. So what are your highest payoff?
So, okay, yeah, I did kind of pick those. Let me see. So the first one, because so my biggest goal for 2018 is my online store.
Okay.
Because I'm really my foot traffic isn't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I really need to shift my focus to where I'm gonna be able to increase sales. So that is online. Okay. So I have right now uploading about 25 SKUs a week. So that's about 5 a day. And then having a really structured content calendar, because I do have a following. There's a lot of potential for sales via social media or via, obviously, e-commerce. Mm-hmm. But I've pulled everything off of the website and I'm starting over. Okay. Because I'm trying to get SEO implemented and just cleaning everything up. So my website is pretty empty. So, so having a structured content calendar is my number 2. And then my number 3 is, getting clear on my numbers. But is that part of where I should focus? Because I'm gonna align with the bookkeeper to help me get more clear and get that in order. Okay. But that's gonna take a few weeks to kind of clean up. But does that count as an area of focus? Because I need to be I need to be way more strategic with my with my numbers.
For sure. So here's what I see. That you said the online store is your main area of focus, right? Like creating that, right? So
And I have it. It's good. It just needs to, the product needs to get uploaded, photographed, and that's a million steps. So that in itself feels like it should be the number one, because there are so many steps involved in e-commerce.
Yeah. So what I want you to do is just on a piece of paper, you're just going to brainstorm all the steps involved with that. Okay. So everything you have to do for your online store, I want you to just write it down. It doesn't matter what order or anything. Just put it all down on paper. Okay. As a first step. Then I want you to look at all of it and I want you to prioritize it. So you're going to go, okay, what needs to get done first, and then what, and then what. And then you're going to look at who can help you, right? So how much?
I have help, thank God.
Okay. Good.
I've got some help on that. So we're creating a system to work together. So yeah.
Okay. So 1 is just brainstorm your list of everything you need to do. 2 is prioritize it. 3 is delegate, right? So write who's going to do what. Okay. Are you doing it? Is your social media person doing it? Your web developer, right? Like who's doing what out of all of that, and when, right? Like, so the prioritization thing is going to be like, what's going to happen first? Because I think when you get it all out of your head and it's on paper and you can see it, it's going to help you a lot to know, like, okay, what do I focus on first and who's doing what, right?
Okay.
Okay. So, Laura's asking if you have any services you could sell, or is it all products? She does have services, Laura. We did talk about that in her consulting, and so that is in the pipeline. And I think, and I was going to ask you about that also, because I feel like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but is your 90-day focus, do you want it to be building your online store? And that's it? Like,
see, the reason, yeah, I feel like that is because I'm a retailer, like that I already should have, because of the way things are today, there's no reason why at least 40 to 60% of my business should already be online.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's trending. And past Christmas really proves that things are shifting.
Yeah.
So I have to get in line with it.
Yeah. It's a logical next step for you.
Of the product, like shelves. Yeah, it's sitting on my shelves, and my foot traffic is lacking, but my online presence is there every day. It's there, so it's like I feel like I should do that first so that it's working, and then I can do kind of the other stuff, because the other stuff, and this is kind of why I raised my hand for maybe some input, is because I feel like I really need to master my
I don't see you anymore and I don't hear you. Matt, are you still there? It's not me, right, you guys? Cat, we don't hear you or see you. Okay, hopefully she'll realize what's going on. That. Okay, well, when she gets back with us, we'll continue there. So, have you guys worked on, like, when you're going to work on this stuff, your steps? Who's resistant to doing that? Who's resistant to putting it on the calendar and like setting dates? Be truthful.
I'm not looking forward to it.
You're not looking forward to it. Okay, why not?
I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to come up with a date for something. It's just so solid, and I'm very fluid. So this is definitely going to be good for me, but at the same time, I just don't even know where to start.
Okay, so did you prioritize your task list? Yeah.
Yes, I got it pretty much all done. Just missing a few little steps in between, but I think I've got it pretty good.
Okay, so then this is where it's going to be unique to each person, you guys, right? Like what the amount of time you have in your day, you know, what your competing interests are, how you like to work, you know, your work style. You know, some people like to do big time blocks, other people like to do short bursts, right? So you guys design your calendar around what works for you and your lifestyle, right? So what would be your first action step, Anna?
Well, I broke it down according to each product. So I'm going to concentrate on making a new purse first. So I'm going to design it. I guess I could start that right away, but I don't know. Should I give myself like a few days to do that, or?
Why did you choose the purse first? Is there a reason, or is there a method to your madness, or you just?
I guess maybe because it's going to be the most challenging. I already have the design for the oil wrap because I sell it already, so I just need to make more of them. But I want to simplify my process. The fringes, I already know how to make those. I do them all the time, but also I want to simplify the process on those two things. Mm-hmm. But it's the purse I want to get down. One, because I want to have something new to put in Kat's store, and I also want to have something besides those two other products that I can sell wholesale. Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to get that out there.
Okay. Okay, so what's a realistic timeline for that for you?
To have it completely finished?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I guess I could have it finished 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Just have one solid good one done in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then go from there.
Okay, great. So you have a very clear and specific goal for the next 2 weeks, is to finish your purse, right?
Right.
So now your job is to go into your calendar and look at the time that you have to work on it, okay? You're going to go, okay, I've got this time and this day, and I have a couple hours here or whatever, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Step 1 is whatever, create the design or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So that's what I want you to do now is say, okay, I'm only focusing on this for the next 2 weeks, and then set your next milestone, right? Like
okay.
Milestone 1 is reached. You've reached it in 2 weeks. And then next milestone is, it could be moving on to the next thing, or it could be like there's something, you know, producing more of the purses, or, you know, what is the next step, right?
Okay.
And so if at the end of the 90 days, your goal is to have this simplified line of product that is ready to sell and, you know, that done essentially, right? So now you can look at, okay, I have this much time and this is how long it's going to take me to do this, and this. So that's how I want you to really start looking at it, is like breaking it down, because you kind of know like how long each thing will take you, right? And
yeah,
you can modify.
Okay, that's really helpful to kind of think about how much time I want to give myself per item. That helps completely, because then I can then break it down. I just need that like starting point.
Yeah.
And then I can go from there.
Good. Okay, cool. So that's helpful.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay. Laura, you should be a coach. Reading your post there. So, okay. So basically, who else? Because I want you guys, we have, a little over 20 minutes left. And this is the most important, to me, this is the most important step, is that you are clear about what you're working on when you leave here, right? So even if you don't have the whole 90 days mapped out today, you can put it on your calendar to finish mapping out your 90 days. But I want you to have the next, couple of weeks mapped out before we leave today. So if you're resistant to doing that, if you need help, if you need coaching through it, whatever, raise your hand. We're here now. We're working on this together. So let me know. And otherwise, if you already have the next 2 weeks done and mapped out, raise your hand. I want to see that too. Okay, it looks like nobody does. So I'm going to give you time right now to work on that, okay? So let's go ahead and map out, and I want to see it in writing with dates, when you're working on what for the next 2 weeks, okay?
Justine, are we doing the when to complete? Sorry, I had a call from the cardiologist come in. Just missed the last minute of what you said.
So right now you're putting it in your calendar, exactly what we're doing for the next 2 weeks, when and how long and all of that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Oh, and by the way, I want you to put on your calendar your 90-day goal. Put it on your calendar. So whatever your goal is, pick a date that you'll have it completed by and write it in your calendar so you make it real, okay? Kat, welcome back. We're just right now, everybody's putting it in their calendar, the steps that they've mapped out, exactly what they need to be doing when. So they're writing it down in their calendar. So I know you got cut off, and I want you to be able to finish what you and get what you need. So yeah, you know, yes, I agree that the best next step for you for focusing is your online store and getting that, because that's immediate cash flow, you know, that you can be capitalizing on because of all your efforts. You already are visible online, you know. So I would say my suggestion would be to, I already gave you my suggestion about writing everything down that you need to do for that, and then figuring out who's doing what and by when, and then writing this in your calendar. So that's what we're doing right now, is just really writing it down so there's no guesswork as far as what you need to be doing. And if you want to, you're welcome to unmute yourself and finish what you were saying earlier. If you want to take the time now, everybody's just doing their own thing.
Oh, okay. I'll try to keep it simple, because so I don't get off track. So with that said, I'm kind of feeling like I should put my events and workshops and things like that really, I mean, they're great for bringing people in, and bring people into the business, but they take so much effort, especially if we're the one promoting it when taking payment for the workshops. And we, you know, I don't make any money off of it. Sometimes I lose money because my splits are so small. And I don't know, I feel like I should either really, really limit those or make them very, very specific to a certain time, instead of doing them so regularly like I did, because now I'm even short-staffed.
Yeah. I think that would be wise. Yeah.
You think so? I'm not going to lose on, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not lose out, but
what would you lose?
But I don't know. It just takes too much. It just takes too much work. And right now I have to really put my energy into bringing cash flow right now.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So I'm in agreement with you 100%. I think similar to Gen War, you should not create anything new or bring anything new right now, even though you have, like, you could do the consulting, you can focus more on the events, but I think you should really take this quarter to focus on the online store and really bringing in income from that and getting it to where you want it to be. And then next quarter, let's look at other income streams.
Next quarter. Yeah, because I also have to hire, because I'm only here until like March, April, and I'm down. I'm understaffed, and Justine, I'm really trying to trim the fat, because it's just getting, something's got to give.
Yeah. Yep.
Something's really got to give.
Exactly. So what is that? What is it that has to give? And I think you're right on with focusing on the highest payoff activity and not getting distracted from that, right? So like I know you love to do events, but if the events aren't productive for you because you're either not monetizing, or, you know, the visibility isn't turning into money, or what have you, I would cut back on them. I would, you know, definitely make it work within your time frame, like what works for you. Like you were saying, maybe limiting them to a certain time, or, you know, or just cutting back. and really shift your focus into the online store and making that successful. And then when that's kind of up and running and you have people designated to do that, right, then you can shift over here and go, okay, what do I really want to do, you know? And I know you love the events, and I know you would love consulting and helping people, you know, with their businesses. So, you know, that's what I think is next for you. But yes, let all the other stuff go that's not moving you forward, you know, for now. And it's not like you're letting it go forever. You're just going to like shift your focus so you can be more productive, and then you can come back and pull those things back in, you know.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
does that feel good?
Yeah, no, it feels really good.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do before we hang up, and we're going to be hanging up soon, is I want you to have your list of what you need to be doing for the online store. And I want you to have at least, you know, over the next 2 weeks, exactly what you're doing and what your team members are doing. And I want you to write it in your calendar, because I want deadlines. I want you to know, like, on this day, I'm working on this, or so-and-so is working on that, right? So
Okay.
that's what everybody's doing right now. So I want you to, yeah, just take your time and do that, okay? All right, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, you're welcome. Okay, ladies, how are we doing? How are we doing? Are we having fun, or are we ready to pull our hair out? I can't, all I see is Kat and Tanji, so I have no idea how what everyone else is. Okay, there, Tanji just gave me a smile. So how are you guys doing here? Give me a check-in real quick. Gen War's here, doing good, making progress. Oh, wait.
Are we breaking this down into
What's that?
what exactly should I be mapping out right now? The
Like all the steps that you need to take for the online store, and then prioritizing them, like what order do they need to happen in, and then who's doing what.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, Tanji, putting my stuff in my phone calendar until I can write. Cool. As long as it's in a calendar, you're good. Or as long as it's written down with dates on it, you know, you're good. So I want you guys to complete that. If you walk away with nothing else, I want you to walk away with that and know exactly what you're doing the next couple of weeks, okay? So I'm gonna actually I'm gonna go to the restroom, and so go ahead and keep working on that, and then I'll be back to check in with you guys, and then we will need to start the completion wrap-up process, okay? Okay, guys, how are we doing? Why don't you guys come on back? Come on back. Let me see those beautiful faces. 1, 2. You have to leave now because classes are done. Okay, cool. So you got most of it, Tanji. Are you good for, like, you know what you're doing this whole next week or two? Are you clear? Listen, you guys, as a follow-up to this, post in our group what you're working on. And if you need feedback, if you want feedback, I can give you feedback in there, okay? So like if you feel like, oh, should I be working on this, or, you know, whatever. I want to see what you guys are working on. I want to see. I'm going to be the nosy mom that wants to see what you guys are doing, okay? So you have one question, Tanji. Go ahead. Can you unmute or no? We're going to stay on. I can stay on for a few more minutes and then I have to go. So I think Tanji's typing right now her question. Okay. So Anna, you're back. We don't see you still, but okay. And then what about Laura? Are you back? Okay, there you are with the babies. Hi. Okay, cool. And I'm not sure if Laura's back, but let's go ahead and, okay, Tanji, you have, let me see. You have a live Facebook video that you did yesterday. I'm wondering if it'd be a good idea to share for a mailing list instead of an article. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. You know, I recommend switching it up anyway, you know, doing some blog posts, some videos, and sharing them with your list for sure. People like to receive information in different ways. So yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now, I want you to keep going. Like if you have time right now to complete this, then stay with it and complete it. I want you to answer the questions, you know, what are your perceived barriers? What do you think could get in the way of you actually making your deadlines or finishing your goals? What support will you need? So what do you need from us? What do you need from your family? What do you need from, you know, outside people? Like, what are you going to need in order to complete your goals? I want you to identify that. Okay, Tanji, much love to you too. Bye. And then this is the one I really want you to think about, okay? Why is it important that you achieve this goal or these goals you have set for yourself? What is your emotional attachment to it? What is your motivation? Why does it really matter anyway? I want you to identify that for yourself. What is your big why for what you're doing? Because if you're not connected to your big why, you're likely not to complete your goals. You're likely not to achieve what you want to achieve. So I want you to be clear about what is it that is compelling you to complete these goals. And if you don't have that, then either A, you need to look at another goal, it's not the right goal, or you need to identify what your why is, okay? All right, and then how do you want to feel throughout this process over the next 90 days? So what is, you know, Jen War already identified joy. You want to feel joyful. You know, do you want to feel inspired? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel productive? Do you want to feel, you know, what is it that you want to feel as you're working toward your 90-day goals? And really focus on that desired feeling intention, okay? And then how will you celebrate when you achieve your goals? So I want you to really identify like something fun or something, you know, just yummy that you would love as a celebration for achieving these major goals that you have, because these are all really big goals. These are things that are moving you forward on your trajectory, right? Like this is the 90-day goal is moving you to your year-long goal, and that's moving you to a bigger place in your life. So, you know, it's a milestone and they need to be celebrated. So I want you to identify how you will celebrate when you reach your goal, okay? So that's it. Take the time to complete this process. If you can do it now, please do, because I know how it is when we say we'll do it later and then we don't. Right? And so do it, complete it, post in our group, okay, for added accountability on what you're committed to. Say what your goals are, or, you know, what you're working on this week, or, you know, what your why it's so important to you to achieve this goal. I'd love to hear that from each of you. And I would totally do that right now if we had time to go around and share, because I think that's so important. And just stay in contact that way. Okay. I'm just going to leave that up to you guys to get the support you need and to get that added accountability, because this is now you have a plan, right? Do you guys feel good about your plan? Yeah? Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, so that's it. We're going to complete. I'm going to open it up for any final words or thoughts before we close out. So anybody that wants to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself. And if there's anything that you want to say, like a major takeaway you had today, a feeling that you have right now, you know, a certain feeling that you're holding, an intention that you have, some kind of support that you might need, whatever it is right now, this is your community and this is your chance to vocalize what, you know, what's going on for you. So final chance. All right. Who has something to say to close it out? Okay. So Jen, it's clear to you that you need to plan it for nothing else than you struggle to be clear in your path. Plan it out, girl. Plan it out. Anna, so helpful. Thank you, Justine. Just really needed to get the timeline solidified now. Yay. Okay, awesome. Yay. Whew, we overcomplicate things, don't we? In our heads, we overcomplicate. So let's just simplify. And this is, hopefully this process was helpful today and you're clear about what you need to do. And if you need more support, you know what to do, right? All right, cool. Nothing gets accomplished if you don't plan. That's right. Yes, yes. That's right. That's right. Awesome. Okay, so if there's nothing else, let's sign off. And I thank you all for being here today. And I had fun, and I hope you did too. And I more breaks, but that didn't quite happen. We had to plow through. So.
Oh.
All right. Laura, did you want to say something?
No, just goodbye. Thanks for being flexible with the structure and us popping on and off.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me join.
You're welcome. Glad you could join us. All right, you guys, good luck with your stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
right.
We'll
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.